Close Encounters of Cusack. Though there are a tremendous amount of reported cases of eyewitness accounts of unidentified flying objects, it is very rare for eyewitnesses to report a direct sighting of an alien presence or extraterrestrial life form seen in clear detail during the event. This appears to not be the case when analysing the close encounters of the commune of Cusack located in France. On the 19th of August, back in 1967, two children, a 13-year-old boy and his 9-year-old sister, ran to the police and alerted them of a strange sighting. They claimed that as they were watching the cows in a nearby field, they noticed that there appeared to be 4 small people that were completely covered in a weird dark material and stood at roughly 47 inches tall. At first, they were not afraid of these strange people and originally thought it was other children around their age, but began panicking when they noticed these strange beings suddenly begin to rise in the air and float up towards a metal disc-like object floating above them that was no more than roughly 15 feet in diameter. At first, the officers didn't know what to make of the kids' story, but noticed that the children appeared to be truly fearful as they continued to describe the scene in vast detail. Quickly, the officers followed the children to the sighting and noticed that there appeared to be a strange sulfur smell in the air near where the object was seen to have been hovering, and that a large patch of dried grass had suddenly appeared in the area. After the police filed the report of the incident, the French government stepped in and conducted their own private investigations of the event and have yet to release any gathered information or investigation details. As time went on, the story died down and the government felt compelled to keep all gathered details of the investigation a secret and refused to acknowledge the case's existence up until March of 2007, when the French government released hundreds of declassified UFO investigations on their government website over 40 years after the event. Bodies in hotel beds. Though no evidence can be gathered surrounding this urban legend that many locals within the country of Malaysia tell to tourists, that doesn't prevent it from being one of the most popular stories told to tourists staying at hotels at popular cities across the country. Referred to as bodies in hotel beds, a group of college students took a trip to Malaysia shortly after their exams and had wanted to unwind with a comfortable, relaxing holiday. Because they were college students, however, they didn't have enough money to pay for the hotel rooms for all of their friends, so they planned on paying for only one room and sneaking everyone else in to share a single room. It turned out that the plan worked out well and the group crammed more than 6 people into a single hotel room with only a single bed. When it was time for everyone to sleep, they took the mattresses off of the bed and laid them on the ground so that everyone could have a place to sleep, only to discover a strange lump in the bottommost mattress that didn't seem to make any sense. Curious as to what was being hidden inside the mattress, the students cut open the bed and found the body of a woman that had been stuffed in only recently. Terrified as to what they found, they immediately went to the hotel management, of whom quickly paid the students a large sum of money to remain quiet on the matter and covered up the entire incident. Today, the story is told to tourists visiting the region as a warning for them to check their mattresses before they end up sleeping on the stuffed body of an unknown victim. The Arad Dnovsky Fortress. One of the most popular tourist destinations in Ukraine, the Arad Dnovsky Fortress holds with it a terrifying history that has left many wondering what could have been housed deep in the dungeons of one of the largest castles in Ukraine. According to the collections of legends from 2 ethnographers local to the region, Vladislav Chelpanov and Savar Skyler, there were many legends involving that of horned men living in the dungeons of the fortress only to come out and attack surrounding people during the night. In fact, one of these legends included historical accounts gathered from the Ottoman Empire that recorded back in 1957, when the city had temporarily belonged to the Ottoman Empire, the Turks worked to rebuild the fortress at the time and came across an entrance to some hidden caves inside the moat of the castle. When they entered the cave, they discovered enlarged human-like heads with bones that seemed far more massive than that of normal human beings, believing that there had been monsters potentially living in the caves. These claims and legends led to the State University of Odessa sending a small expedition team that included the director of the Underground Paleontological Museum, Konstantin Pronin, the chairman of the Interregional Group on the Study of Mysteries, Andrei Pereplitsyn, and a KP correspondent of whom was sent to record all thoughts and opinions, Andrei Moisenko. Shortly after the incident, many of the groups believed that perhaps there, at one time, existed a hidden group of Australopithecus that had evolved to live in the miles of catacombs and dungeons underneath that castle that have not yet been fully explored. Still, even today, there are claims of large horned people leaving the fortress at night and attacking anyone of whom gets too close. Perfect snowballs on a Siberian beach. Back in 2016, residents located near a Siberian beach in Russia began reporting of a strange natural phenomenon that began to occur across an 11-mile stretch located on the coast. The residents found tens of thousands of snowballs seemingly formed overnight, perfectly round and varying in size, going on for more than 11 miles in every direction on the beach. These snowballs were sometimes described as being the size of a tennis ball to being larger than a full meter in diameter. At first, they were believed to be large rounded stones that had been formed by crashing waves, but when broken up, were created out of nothing more than hardened snow and ice. This led researchers to look into the strange phenomenon to better understand what could have been causing the formation of such perfectly rounded snowballs to have formed overnight, stretching so many miles. The working theory today is that the shoreline had frozen over in the night, but not enough to have formed hardened ice. This frozen shoreline, mixed with crashing waves, would have been formed into a slush that could be rolled by the ongoing winds in the area to form large, perfectly rounded snowballs across the beach. Though this would require a number of perfect variables, it would help to explain how so many could have been formed overnight, and none could continue to be formed during the day, as any evidence of the slush would have been completely melted away. The mystery of the Sphinx. Originally a theory posited by the groundbreaking author Robert Temple, there appears to be overwhelming evidence that the Sphinx we know today was actually an attempt made by a pharaoh of the 4th dynasty to do nothing more than to claim the works of those before him. Evidence for this can be found when analysing the head-to-body ratio of the large statue. The head on the Sphinx is so small that many had often believed, upon first sight, that it could have been grinded down from a much more massive structure. The second piece of evidence is provided by the hieroglyphics located at the temple of Tep-Tu-Fa that outline in great detail that the original god of ancient Giza was Anubis, as well as including the accounts and images of Anubis in his jackal form drawn all throughout the site in the same pose as of the body of the Sphinx, with no mention of a lion of any kind at the ancient city. Interestingly enough, this exact same pose was discovered in one of the only tombs of an Egyptian pharaoh ever discovered that had been completely undisturbed since his burial, the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Within King Tut's tomb is a shrine to Anubis that demonstrates an exact scale of the Sphinx statue, but with the head of a jackal to represent Anubis, showing in overwhelming evidence that the original statue at the ancient city of Giza was supposed to be that of a jackal-headed Anubis and not that of a lion's body with a human head. So, where do we get the idea of a human's head and a lion's body? The truth is, the only reason why the statue is referred to as a sphinx is because of old Greek mythologies, such as those of Oedipus, that talk about a lion with the head of a man called a sphinx, but no such symbol exists in that of ancient Egypt. This means that the hieroglyphic texts that describe the Sphinx with a human head to represent the pharaoh of the 4th dynasty were nothing more than forgeries by the then pharaoh to take credit for a great statue of which he had not created nor designed. Why this is remains a mystery to this day.